Hey everybody, JSquared John Jeremy here, back with another Q&A session. We're going to do things a little differently with this video because there's one question that I feel deserves kind of a longer answer, and if we spend today's video focusing entirely on that question, I think that's okay in order for me to get my point across in a way that is clear and understood. So let's get right to the question. The question comes from Na Primer J, or Na Prime J, and the question is, will the Patreon be relevant again sometime in the future? And I wanted to dive a little deeper into that and talk about monetization as a whole when it comes to this YouTube channel and with YouTube as a whole. So thank you for the question, Na Prime J. So many of you know, or at least understand, that the YouTube content creators that are out there, a good number of them, not everybody, but a good number of them are monetized. And what that means is that depending on, the number of views that someone gets, there are ads that are placed in these videos. You have seen them on my channel, if you are not using ad blocker. And in doing so, the content creators, receive a portion of that revenue from those advertisers. Now, I don't know which advertisers are placed on my channel. I don't know which ads are placed on my channel. I just know that they're there, and that, after a certain duration, that ad pays out. Now, I've always been leery when it comes to this sort of concept because there's very little transparency in this. There's very little in the know. We kind of have to hope that all goes well and that YouTube will do its part and pay out as far as this goes. And in the past, there was no trouble at all. I remember when I was first monetized back in the day. This was back in 2012, actually, right before I joined up with my real life work at Microsoft. In fact, I had to kind of have a discussion with the company because of what boundaries were there when it came to being paid. So we managed to get that done, but it was something that I took very seriously. So this was also back in the day when many content creators, not everybody, but many content creators had to join what are now called multi-channel networks, these MCNs. Machinima, which recently closed its doors after the sale to Fullscreen, was an MCN. Fullscreen itself is an MCN. There have been others out there. Freedom comes to mind. Curse Network was another. And these MCNs would take a portion of the revenue that the creators received from YouTube after YouTube took its own portion of revenue, and then basically allowed the creator to be monetized, maybe throwing in some benefits like royalty-free music or licensed music, rather, or they would say that they would help you gain better ad rates, which I'm never really sure if that actually was a thing or not, but it definitely was mentioned time and again. And they would say like, hey, if you want to partner up, we'll have one of our employees talk to you about how you can grow your channel. So that was that era, 2012. And, at that time, things were okay, Then, fast forward a few years later, come to find out that YouTube had started a demonetization program. And many of you maybe are aware of this or have heard the term adpocalypse before. For those that are not, I found a good primer that's available on it. And basically what happened is that if you can see this chart here, we've got the video being released, And then, the blue line indicates the revenue for that individual, and the orange line indicates views for that video. You'll note that at a certain point in that chart, the views don't drop, but the revenue plummets. That's due to this demonetization program that was being run, and it's taken several years for YouTube to kind of make it more transparent around, what are the guidelines around demonetization, what are the guidelines around advertiser-friendly versus not advertiser-friendly content. And YouTube content creators have been trying to, figure this out, because many do this as a full-time job. They do this as a full-time gig to create content for you to watch. I'm not one of them, but if I had been, this would have been super scary, terribly scary, because you're literally just dropping revenue. And at that time, there wasn't really a good explanation. It's kind of progressed since then. So getting back now to my personal monetization, I have had videos of mine demonetized or deemed not advertiser friendly. Not my entire catalog. I've been kind of spared that, but it's funny what it picks. My Dead Island series, for example, I don't think it likes the word dead because pretty much that series and Dead Island Riptide were almost entirely demonetized. Our visual novel playthrough, The Fruit of Grisaia, that was pretty much demonetized. And there were a few other, videos here and there that were demonetized as well. And now YouTube allows for manual review. It takes time to do that, and you have to meet a certain qualification in order for you to do that. But it can be manually reviewed, and if it's deemed appropriate, it can the switch, basically, they flip a switch and it's now monetized again. The problem for many content creators these days is that they're producing content without 100% knowing before it's released whether or not it's going to be monetized or not. And there have been instances where content has been demonetized at its release. And if it is, the views that are generated on a video, within 48 hours, you're going to get the majority of your views, unless it's kind of like a viral video that catches on later on. So content creators are taking a risk by putting out these videos, maybe that are on the fence of being monetized or demonetized, advertiser-friendly versus not advertiser-friendly, and they're just kind of hoping, wishing that it goes well. So I don't like that method. But again, I try and keep my content as appropriate as possible. I've never been one for vulgar language too much. I mean, when I was in my younger days on the channel, definitely there was more of that. But even before this demonetization thing started, I definitely kind of toned it down because I didn't like hearing myself say those words anyway. So getting back to now today, what does monetization look like today for me? Yes, there are still ad rates and advertisements played on my videos. If you are a YouTube Premium member, you don't get those ads anyway, and just by you watching my videos, there's a revenue share included in that as well. So for those of you that use YouTube Premium, thank you. But more recently, YouTube has released a new method for content creators to receive revenue in the form of what's called channel memberships. Now, channel memberships are very similar to if you're on Twitch or familiar with Twitch, these Twitch subscribers. So see, since YouTube already has subscribers, they can't really double down on that word. So they call them memberships. They used to call them sponsorships. And I kind of prefer that a little bit more, but memberships is what they decided on in the end. And I actually had the opportunity to speak with employees of YouTube back when this was first rolling out, and there was a discussion around, well, what does this mean? How can a content creator, really lay this out in a way that's understood? And what are the benefits of that for both the content creator and the viewer? So the feature was in beta for a very long time. And then back in the summer of last year, they launched it as channel memberships. Now, I did not participate in the launch of that program. Instead, I had a Patreon set up where people, if they so chose, could donate to the Patreon or pledge to the Patreon, and then they would receive individual perks. As of the beginning of this year, that Patreon has been closed down, and I have converted everything entirely into the YouTube platform for channel memberships, and I'll explain why. The Patreon system, while it allows for greater freedom, my concern became the perks that were available to somebody on Patreon didn't really benefit them if they were primarily watching my content on YouTube. Yes, you could pledge to the Patreon and get access, let's say, a special tier on the Discord, but there really was no way for, let's say, a reward to be granted specifically on the YouTube platform where you were watching my videos. And that really bothered me. So what I did was I took a look at the channel memberships as they are today. And channel memberships as they are today allow for a couple different features that are available that weren't before. And this coincides also with the launch of the YouTube Premiere system as well. In the past, memberships were primarily just for, streaming. And I don't usually do streaming on YouTube or anywhere for that matter. Every now and again, I'll get on something, but it was primarily a focus point for streamers. What they did when they launched YouTube Premieres, which we have been using regularly since our return in January, is that the same setup applies. There's a live chat system that's there, and the people who are members are then able to have access to badges that show off the fact that they are members, similar to how Twitch subscribers, you have a badge for, being a subscriber to that particular Twitch streamer. And they have access to custom emoji as well. Again, similar to how Twitch has their custom emoji available. So I built a channel membership platform for the channel based off that. And we'll take a look here at the folder for the badges, and you can see that the biggest thing about these memberships is that they coincide with different dates, different time frames for how long you've been a member. If you are at 0 months, you get access to the badge itself, which is just basically our avatar, our logo. At different points, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, even going into years, you get a different badge showing that off. So I thought that was a great new benefit that I wouldn't have been able to do specifically on Patreon that now people can have access to on the YouTube platform. Same thing with the custom emoji. So as we gain new members, we then can create new custom emoji for the channel that can then be used. Like right now, our 4, for example, here are the battle emoji, the rip emoji, our royal crown, and our tithe emoji, because we know that I like tithes. So they coincide together. As you gain new members, you have access to create more emoji, which we can then use based on our escapades on the channel, whether it be in Bomber Crew and Crusader Kings 2 and other games in the future. We build that platform together. And we can even, have decisions on that together, I'm able to create, specific members only posts on our community tab. And one example of that could be I could make a poll, and that poll could then be, well, all members, you have a vote in what new emoji we're going to be creating based on what game, as an example. So this is all within the YouTube platform, and I find it easier to handle than going through the Patreon system. This is what we used to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Anybody who pledged to the Patreon, I super appreciate it. And I super appreciate your support. I just felt like I wanted to make sure that the rewards that were being granted were appropriate, and you felt like you got that reward through a platform that you're on, and that's on YouTube. That's not to say everything is sunshine and roses, though. There are definitely a few issues that I feel need to be addressed. First, and I want to be, again, as transparent as possible when it comes to this, because I know that monetization and money are such sensitive topics. I want to be as clear as possible when it comes to these things, because I feel like you as the viewer who's watching this deserve that sort of that clarity. First, as of right now, the custom badges and the custom emoji only work through live chats, and those are only available through first watchings of the YouTube premieres. So, like, for example, it's 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We Monday through Fridays we do Crusader Kings 2 video. So people who are members can have access to that custom emoji and custom badge during the live chats, but only during those videos. They're only during the premiere of that video. I know that YouTube is working on a solution to basically have those badges and those emoji available across the platform, where if you comment directly on the video, it then shows off the badge and it shows off custom emoji. I think their biggest problem is going to be, how do you kind of share that across channels? But Discord already does it through their Discord Nitro system, so it shows that it can be done. I think even Twitch does it as well. So I know that's something that they're working on. It just wasn't originally built. The YouTube platform wasn't originally built with this in mind, so it's taking them some time to do. But that is definitely like number one on my list of things that I want to see done for members, is that be able to have access to their emoji and their badges, wherever they are on the YouTube platform. The other thing that really bothers me is that one thing that I do want to have available to members that I feel would be a huge benefit is early access to videos. The YouTube channel system, the channel membership system, it's not necessarily the cheapest method. I'll be, again, upfront and honest about this. And if we look at the memberships, it breaks it down based off of $4.99 US. So they don't have this implemented in all systems yet, but you can see here, Australia, for example, you're paying $5.99 Australian dollars. In Japan, it's $4.90 yen. In the UK, it's $4.99 in British pounds, which is actually more money in US currency. And that fluctuates depending on the international rates versus the US dollar rates. So things are higher, things are lower. Like, it's not an easy system. It's not the easiest system to understand, but I wanted to make sure that it was understood where I'm coming from as far as these memberships go, and why I decided to go through this membership system rather than continuing to do it on Patreon. Now, in addition to the channel memberships system, there's also the new functionality of Super Chats. So Super Chat, again, is a fixture available during YouTube premieres and during live streams. So we use it during our YouTube premieres. and it's available for anybody to use while the YouTube premiere is going on. And basically, you are super chatting. You're paying money to ensure that your comment is showcased or highlighted, either at the top of the chat or on screen or however it works out. So super chats are also available as a monetization form on this channel. And as you can see here, we've had a few super chats recently. Now, again, this is just another method of monetization that's available for all YouTube content creators that qualify for having access to this particular system. And I'm not really sure what the qualifications are besides actually having monetization enabled. I don't know if there's a specific requirement that's focused on them, but I wanted to be as transparent as possible when it comes to this. So that's how that works, and that's kind of why I've worked on soft launching these channel memberships. I haven't really made a video about it or talked about it as in depth as what I'm doing right now. I'm not advertising it beyond talking about it during the premieres and having a link in the description. So I hope that answers that question of Patreon, of monetization, and why we're transitioning to this method. Really, I think it's a benefit for content creators because it allows the direct support of their content without having to worry about, I guess, specifically advertiser-friendly regulations. This is available for people who are not advertiser-friendly to use as well. So if they were concerned about ad revenue, they could go all in on channel memberships, let's say, and then they would be able to, have their revenue that they wanted to, or at least a portion of that. So it's available on my channel as well. If you were to click the join button on my channel, which let me bring that up here. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got our latest Bomber Crew video out right now. You can also see that I use TubeBuddy to help me track analytics on YouTube as well. And if we scroll down here, you've got that join button right there, right underneath the video that you're watching. And it's probably underneath this video as well, truthfully, if you're watching this right now. I know that it's available on the desktop. I know that it's available on Android. I don't believe it's available on iOS devices yet. But you can join as a member. And if you click the button, it shows you exactly what perks you get access to. It shows you what badges you get access to. This is actually just recently updated. This wasn't this specific before. I actually like this much better than before. So this shows you exactly what you're getting when you are, clicking that button and looking to join. So it's there if you wanted to do so. And I hope that we do gain new members, just because I think that's a fun concept to have, I guess, a VIP section. Now, there's no restrictions on the content that I'm creating for that. At this time, there's no, I'm not making a YouTube series, a gaming series specifically on the members only section, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So you're not losing anything in the gaming side by not becoming a member. There are just a couple of bonus features that are available to you if you do. So I hope that provides more clarity than this kind of mysticism. That's not really the right word. The cloudy haze that is YouTube monetization, at least for me personally. Like I said, I just wanted to try and be as transparent as possible when it comes to this. You'll probably see a specific channel membership video in the future. I'm not really sure when I want to do one, but we're just kind of in this, I mentioned earlier, a soft launch where it's there if you want to, become a member of the channel. And I super appreciate it. And I think that it'd be awesome if more people did, because then we can further grow what membership means as well. So I know that was a long answer, and I know I spent a lot of time on it, but I wanted to, again, make sure that it was clear. I'm happy to answer specific questions regarding this in the comments of today's video as best as I can. So if you have questions regarding this, you're more than welcome to post them in the comments of this video. We'll go back to a regular Q&A session, and if you want to ask questions outside of this, again, post them in the comments of this video here, and we'll go back to regular questions in next week's video. But until next time, this is JSquared John Jeremy signing out, saying so long and take care.